Have you ever jumped into one of those extreme 30-day challenges and then on day 31, you fall right back into your old habits? Yeah, me too. Well, what if the real answer isn't some massive life overhaul, but just a few small, simple rules? Okay, let's get into it. We're going to break down 10 simple rules that can genuinely make your day-to-day life better, starting right now. So, this whole idea comes from a place that I think is super relatable. The person who came up with these rules just felt stuck, unmotivated, kind of caught in that cycle of trying big, ambitious things that just never seem to stick. It's a feeling a lot of us know all too well, right? And that right there is the key. The fix wasn't some huge, intimidating commitment. Nope. It was a set of simple, almost obvious guidelines that, when you actually stick with them, create massive change. So let's break them down one by one. All right, first up, let's start with a problem is usually most obvious, our physical space. This first batch of rules is all about taking back control from all these stuff we own, because as you're about to see, a clear space really is the first step toward a clear mind. Our first rule is actually based on a wild real-life story. After an airline lost his luggage, the guy who came up with this had a crazy realization. He didn't actually care. In fact, he felt free. So the rule is this. Ask yourself, if your closet or your storage unit just went up in smoke, would a secret part of you feel relieved? And that question just cuts right to the heart of it, doesn't it? Are you a little too attached to your things? Because so often, the stuff we think we own, well, it ends up owning us. It takes up our mental space, it causes stress, and letting go, wow, that can bring an incredible amount of mental clarity. Okay, so that first rule is great for the big picture, but what about all those little just-in-case things? You know what I'm talking about, the extra phone chargers, that second can opener. Just in case. Well, this next rule is just pure genius. It's the 20-20 rule. If you're on the fence about keeping something and you could replace it for less than $20 in under 20 minutes, just let it go. Seriously, chances are you'll never even think about it again. The 20-20 rule is perfect for practical stuff, but what about the things that have more emotional baggage? For that, we've got the box rule. This is such a clever little trick to get around our sentimental brain. You just put all those maybe items into a box, seal it up, and set a reminder on your phone for 6 months from now. If you haven't even needed to open that box by then, you obviously don't need what's inside. Donate the whole thing without even peeking. So once you've decluttered, the last rule for your space is all about keeping it that way, and it's called the everything has a home rule. It's so simple. If something doesn't have a designated spot, it will always become clutter. It's the mail on the counter, the jacket on the chair, you know the drill. If it doesn't have a home, it probably doesn't belong. Simple as that. So, we've started to clear out our physical space, right? Now we can take that same logic and apply it to our daily actions. This next set of rules is all about building momentum with small, consistent habits that you can actually stick with. Now this might be one of the most powerful rules for anyone who's ever tried and failed to build a new habit. Listen, this is not about being perfect. It's about being consistent. So the rule is simple. You can miss a day. Life happens. But you can never miss 2 days in a row. Think of this rule like a safety net. It stops that one missed day at the gym from spiraling into a whole week off. It prevents you from ever really falling off the bandwagon. And that's how you build habits that actually last for the long haul. Okay, so the 2-day rule is for the big habits, but this next one, it's a game changer for all the small stuff. Think about those tiny tasks that just pile up and create this constant mental drag, like putting a dish in the dishwasher or answering a quick text. If it takes less than 2 minutes, just do it, right then. You would not believe how much mental clutter this clears up. And to kind of tie all our daily habits together, we have the final habit rule, the nightly reset. This is all about being proactive, setting your future self up for a win. Instead of waking up to yesterday's mess, you take just a few minutes before bed to reset. Lay out your gym clothes, fill up the coffee maker, tidy the living room. You're basically giving tomorrow's version of you a head start. Okay, so we've cleared our space, we've built some consistent habits. This brings us to the final, and honestly, the deepest set of rules. This is where all that groundwork really pays off. This is where we shift our entire mindset away from what we own and toward who we are. It's about redefining our relationship with money, time, and our own values. So let's start with how we spend our money. What's so great about this is the contrast it shows. We're often taught to invest in stuff, but that just takes up the physical space we just worked so hard to clear, and honestly, it just adds stress. The rule here is to shift that investment into experiences, things like travel or taking a class or going to a concert. Those things expand your mind, they create memories that last forever, and they actually help you grow as a person. This next one is the ultimate filter for protecting not just your money, but your time and your energy too. It's called the 90% rule, and it's simple. When you're thinking about buying something or saying yes to an opportunity, just ask yourself, is this a 90% heck yes for me? If it's anything less than that, then it's a clear, simple no. No hesitation. And just look at what happens when you do this. Suddenly, everything you own is your absolute favorite. You stop buying junk you only kinda like, which, by the way, saves you a ton of money. And your calendar? It just opens up because you're only saying yes to the things you're genuinely pumped about. It's so liberating. And that brings us to our 10th and final rule, which you could argue is the foundation for all the others, the other people rule. I mean, so much of what we do, whether we realize it or not, is for how other people see us. Buying the newest phone, posting certain things on social media. It can all be about getting that little hit of validation. This rule is about making a conscious choice to detach from that and just make decisions for you. The creator's own experience here is the perfect example. When his laptop broke, he realized he didn't really need a new one right away. He could just share one. He only bought a replacement a full year later when his travel schedule made it an actual necessity. The point is, you make decisions based on your reality, not on what you think other people expect from you. So there you have it, 10 rules that connect our physical space to our daily habits and ultimately to our deepest values. And I know, it might feel like a lot to take in, but the whole point of this philosophy is to avoid feeling overwhelmed. The power isn't in trying to do everything all at once. It's just in starting. That's it. Just one. You don't need to adopt all 10 of these rules tomorrow. The real transformation, the real magic, it all begins when you just pick one of these ideas and give it a shot. So let's just recap the big idea here. This was never about being perfect. It's all about making small, consistent progress. As we've seen, these simple rules are designed to create huge changes over time. And it's not just about ending up with an empty room. It's about ending up with a clear mind. And that brings us to the end. So the real question is for you, whether it's the 2-minute rule, the 90% rule, or maybe just putting one of those just-in-case items in a box tonight, which small rule are you going to try first?